What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we are speaking the language of
BroDome.
DC today, Shawn.
Yeah, so
it's the language of Bromance,
Richard,
but it's the language of DC.
DC, there's no ComiCon. And so DC did what I think they should do from now to the end of eternity is have their own, basically it's like their D23, their Marvel Day, but it's DC only, and they're calling it their DC Fandome.
Oh my God, can you imagine say the next Comic-Con where they actually have a fandom?
Well, I'm wondering, do you think, I've heard some people speculate on this, so DC's, from everything I've heard, it's gone pretty well. Do you think more and more people are going to stop going, or maybe not stop going, but stop releasing all their big stuff on Comic-Con and just do their own thing?
I think that's possible. I mean, Marvel's kind of doing that, or they've been kind of doing that, especially since they partnered with once Disney showed up. Disney kind of pulled a lot of the Marvel stuff and folded it, even their Star Wars stuff, and they would fold D23. It into their D23 event. But Star Wars always had Star Wars Celebration, and so they put stuff out there anyway. Marvel just within the last few years have started pulling stuff and then saving it for their D23. But I think that yes, I think the DC will do something like this next year. However, I think that either one of two things are going to happen. Either A, it's going to be a separate thing, a separate event, or B, they just fold it into Comic-Con.
So I just don't know if they would.
Because here's what I'm picturing, Shawn. Okay, so about oh God, how far is it? I want to say it's like 7 blocks from the San Diego Convention Center is where the Padres play.
Petco Park.
Yes, thank you. God, I don't know why that fell out of my brain. So can you imagine? So imagine them just basically taking that space and then just DC-ifying that entire space.
Yeah, that's difficult because Comic-Con takes place in the summer, which is when they play baseball. I mean, this year it would work out because no fans, so there's not really a big deal. But next year, if they allow fans and stuff and they have games there, that'd make it more challenging.
Well, the reason I mention that is because The Walking Dead did something similar to that.
It's been like 4 years
at Comic-Con one year. The year that the year that I went, or no, can't remember if it was the year I went or the year after. The Walking Dead did it was basically like an obstacle course, and they put zombies all through Petco, and you had to maneuver your way through basically a maze that they kind of created.
It's like a escape room, but with zombies kind of thing. I guess it was more like you said, an obstacle course.
Yeah. So I imagine I could definitely see DC doing something like that and just putting it in conjunction with, because you get that big giant fan base showing up for Comic-Con anyway. Why divert your fan base?
I think it's the same reason Marvel and Star Wars would do it with D23, because if you do something during Comic-Con, you share the stage with everybody. So they'll still have a presence, but I think if you have a specific day that is just yours on the calendar, like this Saturday was for the DC Fandome, then everything you put out is all focused on your stuff. Whereas if it's Comic-Con,
I mean, I would say press-wise, yeah, but I feel like if you're wanting to get attendance for your event, I would put it in conjunction with Comic-Con, because I think that if you got people that are trying to if let's say you put this DC event, this hypothetical DC event that we're talking about, let's say you put it 2 weeks after, then people are going to be like, well, do I go to this thing or do I go to this thing? And I feel like that's going to cut your attendance.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the attendance you're really shooting for. It's the press. Because Comic-Con, I think there's stuff there for people to go to, but I think it's more the press and the exposure you get for all that stuff. Because even like,
I mean, you combine that. Yeah, but see, selling tickets to something like that. I don't know, man.
yeah, I don't think there's a big concern there. I mean, you're going to get enough people to attend to either. Well, you may not get enough to pay for whatever you're renting.
In that case, you're making, if you're able to make money off of that, then you're making money off of your marketing.
Yeah,
event.
but I don't think it's about so for Comic-Con, it's about making money because that's their event. That's what that company does. But for like D23 and like this thing, the goal isn't to make money on these. The goal is the exposure you get from it.
I agree. I guess Disney's got the cash to burn, and I feel like DC doesn't.
I think Warner Brothers is doing all right.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, even if you break even or even if you lose, $1 million, you chalk that up to this as a marketing thing. It's not this goes into the buckets of multiple movies that you're trying to pitch, or not pitch, but really trying to sell at this point.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm curious if they'll keep it up.
I think that they will definitely do. At the very, very least, they'll do something similar to this next year.
But you're thinking Comic-Con.
I could see them rolling something like this into Comic-Con. I just don't feel like they, I don't feel like even as much as they did with the event, which they did a lot. Like it ran pretty much all day, between showing new trailers for movies, updates for shows that are coming out, games that are, two new games that are coming out. And in between all that, just a series of different panels. There was a panel on Sandman with Neil Gaiman and everybody. There was a panel on The Flash, on Mark Bernardin led a panel on representation in comics, mainly dealing with DC characters like Static Shock or Cyborg or guys like that. I mean, it was. I turned it on and just pretty much kind of let it play throughout the day while I was, wandering around the house doing other stuff.
It's kind of like a pre-Super Bowl thing, like where you have like the Super Bowl channel on all day, watching like bits and pieces, not really fully focused on it, but kind of catching bits and pieces here or there.
Yeah, exactly. And then when they'd announce like, oh, and then we're going to show this thing from this thing, then you're like, oh, okay. And then that's when you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm going to watch this real quick. And then after, 3 or 4 minutes, and you're like, okay, back to doing whatever I was doing.
Yeah, I was moving all day when this was going on, so I didn't get to sit and watch much of it. I picked up some of the trailers afterwards. I did try to watch the Batman trailer with my son and my nephew, who are both 4 years old. And about halfway through, I was like, maybe this is later.
Mistake!
About the part where it's like, who are you? Whack, 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 whack. I was like, oh, that's violent. And then whack, oh, whack, oh.
Yeah.
The kids were like, did Batman kill that guy? I'm like, yeah, I think he did.
Okay. So I have thoughts on everything. So the question is, where do you want to start? You want to go chronologically? Because I watched this stuff as it was unfolding.
Yeah, since you got to watch all of it, I'll let you kind of guide us through this DC universe and
the DC Fandome.
You'll take us through this fandom. You'll start us in section 1 all the way to section DC.
Okay, so they started the day off. The first thing I caught when I clicked it on was the Wonder Woman 1984 panel.
Okay. I saw the new trailer.
You saw the new trailer. I think they started the panel with that trailer. I can't remember if they started or ended. I want to say they started with the panel with the trailer.
Which that movie was supposed to be out July this year, right?
Yeah, that was the original plan. I think was they were like beginning of July. So I think this movie's obviously done. It's in the can. They're just, waiting to put it out. Mm-hmm. So I have no idea. I don't think they announced, if I remember, they didn't announce a date for when you're going to see this movie. I think it's just kind of one of those things that they're just going to sit on it until this isn't something that you're going to see on This isn't Mulan. This is not something you're going to see on HBO Max.
But Mulan cost you $30 to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I really don't. They're not putting this like on like the DC app and like, hey, if you pay $30 and get a month subscription, you can watch Wonder Woman.
Although I'd pay $30,
that's not going to happen.
That's a movie I'd pay $30 to see.
This movie's coming out in a theater. That's how that's when you're first going to be able to see this movie.
Yeah, unless Black Widow blinks first, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't see that. Black Widow was supposed to come out in May.
Yeah, and they're still holding that tight.
They are gripping onto that movie like grim death. They're like, "Fuck you! You're gonna see this in a big screen." That's where DC is with Wonder Woman. So new trailer for Wonder Woman. How did you feel about it?
Honestly, the first time I saw the trailer, not the new one.
Woo!
There it was. The first time I saw the first trailer, I was like, oh my God, this seems really, really great. Right. This one, I don't know if it's just because I watched it on my phone or because I was moving all day, didn't really get me as excited.
Yeah, me too. And okay.
You see her riding the lightning a little bit more, which was kind of cool.
That was nifty.
I don't know about the bad guy, how that's going to play.
Cheetah?
Yeah. I mean...
Because there's Cheetah, and then there's name escapes me.
The guy, the actual dude.
Yeah, the dude. I can't think of his name.
So I mean, I want it to be good. I know the first one, I really liked it. I need to rewatch it again, but the ending I remember kind of feeling like it was rushed.
The third act in Wonder Woman, it didn't feel rushed to me, but it definitely felt
forced.
Not forced, but it felt different from the rest of the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it felt like the third act felt slightly disjointed from everything you were getting up to that point.
Like 75 to 80% of it was Patty Jenkins, like this was her vision, and the last 25% was the studio.
Yes, that's exactly how I
agree with that. But yeah, I didn't really get any more out of this trailer than I did the first one. I can't remember what's the guy's name in that.
What the guy Chris? Steve.
The interaction there, like I laughed because the whole like 80s outfit stuff, but
sure,
like how much of that fish out of water are we gonna get? I mean, I guess it's a good hearkening because like in the first one she was the fish out of water, and now in this one he's kind of the fish out of water.
Right.
I do hope that I want good things from this movie because they're talking like they are doing a third one, and Patty Jenkins is going to finish that and move on.
Okay,
but you know, again, this all ties into like how does this fit in the DCU at all? Is it going to make me want?
I don't think that's the ultimate goal. I don't think. See, that's the thing is we're not really talking about a DCEU anymore.
There's still talks about it though, because Flashpoint's going to tie all that stuff together, or it's going to reference all that stuff somehow.
I mean, they're definitely open to the concept of. I think that they like the idea of having this multiverse. You know, they did a whole panel on this in this fandom about the DC multiverse. I think that they're very hip to the idea of creating a multiverse, of having a multiverse that allows them to make very tonally different movies.
Yeah, but is that all going to kind of move into like one timeline?
I mean, I would say if you're a studio executive at Warner Brothers, you would say yes.
Yeah.
If I'm a writer, or if I'm an executive producer with DC, I don't know. I mean, like, okay, like let's look at all the CW shows. You know, I mean, there are definite similarities between between those shows. They do have some tonal differences, But it seems like, occasionally they're like, hey, let's bring everybody together. Okay, everybody back to your corners.
Yeah, the whole Arrowverse idea.
Right. So I guess if I'm an executive at DC, I would say, well, why can't we just do that with these? Why can't we just bring some characters together for a bit, even though they're very different in terms of how of the way they function themselves?
Yeah.
Why can't we bring them together for a bit and then they go back apart and do their own fucking thing?
Yeah, the only difference I see though is like with the CW stuff is you get Arrow every year, 20 plus episodes. But if they're doing something similar on the big screen, you're getting Batman every 3 years.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, oh, well, I'm getting my fill of Arrow every year, and then they do this big jump, once a year. Whereas the other way, it's like, oh, well, I get Batman every 3 years, and if they miss, I've got 3 more years before they come back to it.
That's true.
So I guess I don't know. Like I always feel kind of like right now how I feel about the whole DCU, the DCEU, I guess is what they call it, is it feels very much like Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, where I feel like it's taking so long spinning in place. I mean, because you think like the first Superman that kicked all this off happened in what, 2000?
Man of Steel. Oh God, when did Man of Steel come out? That was a while ago.
What year
was
was
a good
that?
while ago.
2013. So like 2016, I think was
Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, Batman v Superman. And then Justice League was like,
and then Justice
18.
League in 2018.
So I mean, at this point, we are coming up on 8 years, and I feel like we're kind of at a stalemate.
Yes, but I think that the lesson learned from the way Justice League went, and even the way Dawn of Justice went, was that hey, it's not something you can rush.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because that was the big buildup with Marvel stuff. Is you spent 7 years with each of these characters before you got right into it.
You spent 7 years just before you saw them together.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit,
and
shorter
then
than that.
it took another what, 7-8 years before you got to Endgame.
Yeah, it was 4 years. So Iron Man was 2008, and then Avengers was 12.
Okay, so it took 5 years just for them to come together once.
Yeah. And that was individuals kind of, there was droplets of them, throughout. And then here you have basically in 2013, you have Man of Steel. And in 2017, you have Justice League, which I guess technically that's the same. It was a 4-year run.
Well, yeah, but I guess the difference that I'm finding though is that if you look at Man of Steel, Man of Steel. If you look at Dawn of Justice and then go from Dawn of Justice to Justice League, the point of Dawn of Justice was to get to Justice League. If you watch Captain America: The First Avenger, the point of that movie is not to get to the Avengers. If you watch Thor, the point of Thor is not to get to the Avengers.
Yeah, it's all about introducing who Thor is.
Exactly. And the first movie that you have a brand new Batman in and a brand new Wonder Woman, and you're going to put them in one movie and then go straight from that to Justice League.
I guess that's true. We haven't had a standalone Batman movie in all this, have we? That was supposed to be the Batman, which we saw during this fandom.
With a different Batman.
On a different timeline, from what I understand.
On a different timeline.
Which I think it is a, like, almost Batman year 1.5 feel.
Oh, this? The way I understand it is this is supposed to be, like, basically like a year 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like Batman year 2. So they're coming out with DC is coming out with a show called Gotham City PD.
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
Okay, so Gotham City PD is basically supposed to take place in Batman Year 1.
Okay.
So that show is supposed to feed into the Batman.
Okay. Honestly, it's not a terrible way to do that. You kind of get the backstory of Batman without having to see the Batman movie.
Oh, it's gonna happen. We're gonna see him get shot. I will bet all the money in my pockets that I'm gonna see Thomas and Martha Wayne get killed.
Do you think that was like Bob Kane's like in his contract when he signed over? He's like, every single movie, you gotta have the death scene.
Oh my God.
He's like, they won't sign that. Like, they can't sign that. Oh, they signed it. And
I'm trying to think. Okay, so out of all the times you've seen Thomas and Martha Wayne get shot, which one was the best for you? Because you've seen it, 7-8 times now.
I would probably say the Gotham TV series.
Hands down, I completely agree.
Because you get, like, I think it's probably because you follow Bruce at a young age right after, and he is, like, legitimately a kid. And, like, the agony, it's like, and was it the opening of the first episode or the end?
It was the first 5 minutes in the first episode.
Yeah, and that's where that one felt like totally random. And all the other ones, they kind of tried to tie it into the movie somehow. And that was just like, it was just a random act of violence.
I completely agree. I was just curious if we had the same, thing.
Yeah, that'd be mine.
Okay, so back to Wonder Woman. I mean, the movie the trailer for Wonder Woman didn't make me feel more or less excited. However, I do have one slight grievance, and I don't know. I feel like I haven't heard anybody else say anything about this. I haven't heard anybody else make this comment. So it's probably just me, but a little bit, did Cheetah not look like Rum Tum Tugger from Cats?
Yeah, I got that feel. And that's probably what pulled me away. Because first she shows up kind of like Catwoman V1.
Yes.
And like a homemade outfit.
Like Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know much about Cheetah and everything. I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is her. And then all of a sudden, like, you see, like, I'm like, oh, wait, did this kick into the Cats trailer? and I don't know anything about Cheetah at all. So maybe I should have did a little bit of research on like a Wikipedia search on who Cheetah is. But
I mean, I'm not going to lie. In the comic, she is like, part cheetah. So I don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting Rumpelteazer to be fighting fucking Wonder Woman.
I'm kind of curious. I can't remember what
like, oh shit, she's beating down Mr. Mephistopheles.
And like, it's really like Kristen Wiig is somebody that I'm worried I'm going to see her and I'm just going to think Saturday Night Live.
I don't do that. However, when I do, man, Ghostbusters left a bad taste in my mouth.
I haven't seen it, so that I'm kind of aloof to that whole thing.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know, man. Not big on it.
Honestly, too. Like, I would probably be a little bit more in like with Marvel. Whenever they're like, "Oh, we're doing, Guardians of the Galaxy." Like, wait, there's a raccoon in that, but you give them faith. You're like, okay, I think they could do it. Whereas with DC so far, they're like, hey, we're gonna bring on Cheetah. She's half cheetah, and you're like,
I have a comment on what you just said, similar to that, but it's down the line.
Okay.
It's not about Wonder Woman though. But yes, I agree. I get what you're saying. I don't know. Like, yeah, that was it. That was the only thing I was like, I don't know. I don't need Wonder Woman to be fighting fucking Rumpelteazer.
Yeah, but again, I want this movie to be really good. But
I do too.
So I guess it'll be a theme through all these things. So like, no matter like with Marvel movies, I feel like no matter how bad one of them is, you at least know that's leading somewhere. Like this movie, if it's one of those things, if it's bad, then you're like, well, I don't have anything else to look forward to after this. Like to tie it in, right. It's like when you have like a meal. Like if you have a bad appetizer, you're like, well, I mean, at least I've got my main course coming. Yeah. With this, it's like you have one thing you're eating and it's bad. But if it's amazing, like what happens if this Wonder Woman is like super amazing and you're like, you know what? They could have like just put a little bit extra right here. And you'd be like, oh my God, I'm excited for Wonder Woman and Justice League 2. Like, no matter how good this movie is, it's probably going to lead to a Wonder Woman 3, but it's not going anywhere else. I think that what that is just why that sticks with me is because I'm used to this whole universe thing now.
Yeah. I mean, I am to a point, but I'm giving DC the benefit of the doubt, even though they haven't really given me a reason to. Like, by the end of this whole event, I was kind of excited.
Yeah,
for the whole thing.
I'm still pumped. I like knowing that there's stuff coming.
Yeah.
And again, not knowing exactly how it's going to play. Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they spent some time with Zack Snyder and the right people that we will get something fun and cool that ties everything together. But again, the track record over the last decade hasn't really shown us that.
Yeah. All right. So they start off with Wonder Woman. We're going to move on and we're going to change mediums. We're going to talk about the reveal for Gotham Knights, which was put out by Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Same people that did the Arkham City. It was WB Montreal.
Yeah, WB Montreal is the one who's doing that. Rocksteady is doing the Suicide Squad game.
Right. Okay. So Gotham Knights, it's coming off to me as a sequel to the last Arkham game, which was Arkham Knight.
Spoilers, I'm not going to play it, but does Batman die in that?
At the very, very end of the game, if you complete the game 100%, if you fully finish the game, there is a sequence at the very end of the game where he goes back to Wayne Manor. Everybody's pretty much figured out he's fucking Batman. He goes into Wayne Manor. He activates what he calls the Nightfall Protocol, walks into Wayne Manor, and then Wayne Manor explodes.
Oh, okay. Which this game basically, the trailer alludes to, that he's been found in a rubble.
So, yeah. So Gotham Knights, I'm guessing, picks up right after this. So I don't know if you've ever played any of the Arkham games, Shawn, but in terms of, they're fun. Like, you're flying around on wires and you're beating the shit out of bad guys. Like, you're fucking Batman in those games. I own a couple. I own I own 3 of them. Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and my kids got Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I haven't played any of them. I want to. It's just, again, I've kind of started getting back into gaming. So
yeah. But yes, they are super fun. And so I'm interested to see with Gotham Knights, because Gotham Knights allows you to play not only different characters, obviously not Batman. It lets you play different characters, but it also lets you co-op.
Yeah. Well, I kind of hope, just seeing it, I got a very Grand Theft Auto 4-5 feel. 4-5. Where,
in what way?
So there's 4 characters, and I'm wondering if you can bounce between characters. So like you're fighting as the Red Hood for a little bit. I'm wondering
that also.
And then you're like, you know what?
Because so during this reveal, they showed a trailer for the game, which basically kind of gave you like a general overall story. And the general overall story is Batman is apparently dead, and so 4 members of the Bat family are coming to help protect the people of Gotham from all the bad guys that now obviously are like, well, shit, Batman's dead. Woo, fucking party. So it's Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood are the 4 characters, which are all members of the Bat family.
Yeah. And you got 3 of them.
I'm not sure which Robin they're using. I don't know if this is
it kind of looked like it was his kid. Is it Drake?
You think Damian?
Damian, yeah.
That's my guess. It's because it can't be. I mean, it could be Tim. I mean, obviously Dick Grayson's Nightwing. So you've got Dick Grayson, Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. For Robin, you've got let's see. There's Tim Drake. Can't be Jason Todd because Jason Todd is Red Hood. So yeah, it's either Tim Drake or Damian.
I'd assume Damian, because that's what a lot of the comics are pushing now. Because I think,
well, especially considering the story that they are pushing, because at the end of the reveal trailer, they're fucking doing the Court of Owls story.
Yeah. Court of Owls. That was in the new 52 reboot of the Batman.
Yes.
And that was I've recently sold those comics that I had, but I've read it twice. I've gone through it twice, and it's really, really good.
Yes. Court of Owls. Court of Owls actually got my dad back into reading Batman.
So just looking at the wiki, it says it's using the Tim Drake Batman, or Tim Drake Robin.
So it's Tim Drake. Okay. I was gonna say it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah, but the Court of Owls is, I mean, that's a great storyline because you've got the Talon, which is this like endless army. It's gonna be good. That makes me pretty excited. If they do it like Grand Theft Auto 5 did, where you can bounce between, you can be like, I'm playing as Batgirl, and you're like, I want to try something else. Then all of a sudden you're Robin. Play with Robin.
Well, I mean, the gameplay reveal had basically both of them together, like doing stuff. So it seems to me like if you're playing a character, the other character's AI, and you're going like you're playing simultaneously.
Yeah, that's kind of how Grand Theft Auto 5 is. You basically all have your individual missions. There's some missions that bring you all together, and then you can play between the three. And in Grand Theft Auto 5, there's 3, but in this it'd be 4. Isn't there like a reveal in there too, where it looks like it's Batwoman?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's got to be. It should be Batwoman, because even in the Arkham storyline, Barbara Gordon is Oracle.
Yeah, well, they show her in front of a computer like that.
Yeah, because the whole Killing Joke thing is canon in the Arkham universe, because you see Oracle in the Arkham games.
Yeah, and you see her in this too, like where she's just sitting in front of a computer. But
yeah,
does she have something that allows her to become Batgirl? I guess
I have no idea. Who would you play out of the 4?
First look at it, I'd probably play a lot of Nightwing and a lot of Red Hood.
Yeah, me too.
Red Hood has the guns. So you kind of get a little melee with Nightwing, a lot of shooting with Red Hood.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the Batgirl plays like. I'd be down for that too. Because I think of the 4, Batgirl would be the most Batman feel.
I agree. I got that from the what I saw. I got that impression too, that it seems like Batgirl is going to be Batgirl's play style is going to be the most similar to Batman's in the Arkham games.
So do you think how this all ties in the end? Do you think like maybe you do a little bit of battling with the Talon, and then at the end after you defeat the Talon, more Talons are released, but then you find out that Batman's still alive, and that goes into your next game?
Well, possibly. I mean, who knows? The story in that game can go anywhere. Oh, yeah. It seems like they have a tendency to lean on the comics, but not necessarily. It's never a direct 1-to-1, but unless it's a major plot point, they usually it seems like they stick to the comics fairly religiously.
Yeah, and I think that would hold up okay in this. You won't get.
I mean, I'm excited. I might give it a shot. The other game, I mean, there wasn't any gameplay revealed or anything. The Suicide Squad game, I mean, it was just basically a cinematic thing.
Yeah, the big reveal there is that I know it said kill the Justice League, which, again, I thought when I first saw that trailer and you see Superman in the crosshairs, I kind of assumed that like maybe the Suicide Squad has gone rogue. But what the trailer reveals for you here is like, no, like Superman's gone dark, and now you have to fight Superman. And I guess all the Justice
it seems
League
like
bad,
I'm guessing that the whole Justice League gets brainiaced, and so now you're supposed to go beat up the Justice League.
Which that was a 4-person team too. You have Harley, King Shark, Boomerang, and Deadshot.
That was in that game, yeah. I don't know. I have no idea how that game's going to play or anything like that.
Which I wonder if they'll do, because having like multiple characters can be tough. Because I don't like games that do that. There's a few Turtles games that do this, where you play as one character for the specific level, and then they flip you to a different character. But you're like, well, no, I want to play as Harley Quinn the whole time. You don't get to do that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, it all depends on how they're going to do it. Like if they're going to set up Suicide Squad as with RPG elements,
yeah,
like with stats that you can upgrade and weapons that you can modify and change, then yeah, I'm going to want to play one character the whole time. I'm going to play one I want to play one character. I want to build them up crazy powerful, and I want them to dominate the field.
Yeah, because I know Gotham Knights is considered open world. Justice League says it's open world too. Just based on the trailer, I mean, interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I have no idea how that game is going to play.
What's crazy is, so I know Gotham Knights, they say, is going to come out in 2021. Suicide Squad game, 2022.
Yeah, which, well, I mean, with Gotham Knights, they showed some early alpha footage and stuff like that. So, I mean, it seems like they have the engine done, and they have most of. My guess is they have the engine done, they have the gameplay elements done, and now they're just working on content.
Tightening up the story.
Exactly, yeah. They're basically the content phase. With Suicide Squad, if they're saying 2022, I'm guessing they're in the super early stages of development.
Yeah, that feels like it's going to be a 2023 release.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be like, I would probably say November of 2022 if I was a betting man.
Yeah. Need to see what the pre-order date is. If it's December 2022, then you know it's going to be 23.
Okay, so rolling from Suicide Squad into Suicide Squad.
Not a whole lot that I saw. You had the teaser trailer, which exposed all the people in the Suicide Squad.
Yes, you finally got to see the entire cast, and oh my god, that is a big ass cast.
Yeah, but not very much coming from the previous Suicide Squad.
No.
Harley, Boomerang, and
Rick Flag. Yeah. And Waller.
And Waller. Yep, she's in there too. But nobody else is really there.
Nope.
But you get Michael Rooker. You get Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
Pete Davidson is one that I'm kind of.
that one made me tilt my head a little.
Nathan Fillion will be interesting. I'm sure he'll be great. And then you get John Cena, which again I'm kind of like. Yes. But with so many characters, like I feel like.
But hey, I mean, I don't know. With this movie, I have my doubts, but this is definitely a movie where I am putting faith in James Gunn.
Oh, for sure.
Because look, earlier you were talking about fucking Rocket Raccoon, who wants to make a movie that has a trash panda in it. And I said it before the first Guardians movie came out. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about Guardians of the Galaxy with that fucking Rocket Raccoon. Who the fuck puts him in a movie?
You weren't going to go see it. I showed you the trailer. I was like, this looks hilarious. Like, this looks fucking stupid, and I hate you, and I don't want to be your friend anymore.
Yeah. And then, but you convinced me otherwise, so I was like, fine, all right.
And you went and saw it, and you're like, still hate you. It's like, oh.
But the movie was good. Who do you think the next Rocket is going to be? Who do you think the next Rocket is going to be in this movie?
Weasel.
I'm going to say Polka Dot Man. I think like Polka Dot Man is one of those characters that you say it and people are like, why the fuck would I want to see a movie that has a guy named Polka Dot Man in it? And that is going to be one of the more kick-ass characters in the movie.
Yeah, I feel like that Weasel.
Just because it's going to be James Gunn be like, I made Polka Dot Man cool, fuck you.
Yeah, but you got the guy who plays Rocket, James Gunn's brother, Shawn Gunn, playing that Weasel character.
Yeah.
And you get a picture of him just licking glass. So that one might be that. It's like, oh yeah, you thought you wouldn't fall in love with a raccoon. Well, guess what?
Now you're going to fall in love with a fucking weasel. And a guy covered that looks like a twister mat.
Red finger heart. But yeah, you don't get much from that besides all the characters in it. I watched the little behind the scenes kind of thing. Didn't expose a lot, except it's lots of explosions, lots of action. They sold it as like a war movie,
and judging from what I saw, from what they showed that they filmed, yeah, it does. It looks like, honestly, and he even said this James Gunn even said this during the panel. He's like, one of my favorite movies when I was a kid was The Dirty Dozen. Did you ever see The Dirty Dozen?
I think we might have watched it at game day.
Oh my God. My dad made me watch The Dirty Dozen so many times. If that movie, if you give me an old gritty war movie with a bunch of fucking, ragtag fuck you misfits and they have superpowers, I'm behind it. Yeah. I totally did not think I was going to be at all interested in the Suicide Squad. I'm going to be honest.
Well, because
I tried watching Birds of Prey a couple nights ago. I couldn't do it.
Birds of Prey.
I was like, nah, I'm bored.
I went and saw it in theaters by myself. I think that's the last movie I saw in theaters.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was like, I got through it and I was like, okay, I saw it, but it just didn't get me going. Like Suicide Squad's like, the parts where they're together is pretty good. But like the big bad that they're fighting is kind of like, all right. Like, and Will Smith, like I liked his Deadshot, but then I didn't like his Deadshot. Like
I liked Will Smith as Deadshot. But I think it was definitely one of those things where, and I don't find this to be Will Smith's fault, but his presence of character definitely overwhelms a lot of the other characters.
Yeah, Will Smith to me is just tough because like when I watch movies with him, I'm like, I guess more newer movies, it's like I'm watching Will Smith in a movie. It's kind of like Tom Hanks. When I'm watching a movie,
I get what you're saying.
I'm watching Tom Hanks in the movie. But with like, what's her name? Margot? What's her name? The Harley Quinn. Margot. What's her first name?
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie. Watching her, like, I feel like I'm watching Harley Quinn. Like, she just has a way of, like, completely changing herself in these movies. Like, when you see Wolf of Wall Street, like, it's like, oh, yeah, that is the same person. Okay, like, you almost, like, you just can't make that connection because she's such a great actress where I feel like Will Smith, they're like, oh, this is Will Smith playing Deadshot.
But, I mean, I don't find that to be Will Smith's fault. I think it's just the fact that he's such a huge star.
Yeah.
It's that you can't, it's hard to disassociate.
It's like it was like too small of a role for him. I mean, and it's kind of like Pete Davidson's somebody who I don't think's big, but I don't feel like whatever character he is, like I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, that's so and so. I'm gonna be like, oh, that's Pete Davidson. What was his character's name? Yada yada. Oh, okay, but it's Pete Davidson.
Right. Let's see. Okay, so overall, like you're into Suicide Squad.
So the first one I liked. The second, I guess it's kind of like, it was really kind of like 1.5 was the Harley Quinn movie. I'm like, but knowing that James Gunn's under it and everything, I'm gonna go see it. I definitely want to see it.
I'm more excited for the movie than I thought I would be at this point.
Yeah,
because I was totally ready to write off Suicide Squad, but now that you got, like I said, James Gunn already made me eat shit once, so I'm not going to let him do it again. Okay, so we covered Wonder Woman, games. There was a 30-minute thing on Black Adam. I'm curious as to why, because you're not going to see this movie for probably like at least 2 years.
Yeah, I saw the 2-minute comic, like Rock narrated thing, which I thought was cool. Kind of got me excited.
Because they have nothing. They haven't filmed anything. They haven't even fucking, like, I think right now, they're just in pre-production. Like, I don't even think they haven't cast anybody for anything yet.
Besides him.
Like right now, it's just like as far as I know, with Black Adam, it seems like I think they have a script together and they have The Rock, and that's about it.
Well, I'd be curious if they even have the scripts ready. Because I would
Well,
assume that they're like, okay, well, we got to figure out what direction. Because what are you going to do with Black Adam? Is it a standalone movie?
It
Does
is
tie
not,
into anything?
because they said in the movie that they're incorporating the JSA. So apparently you're going to be seeing Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher. Apparently they're in the movie.
Is Black Adam and Shazam, are they any way tied together? Because they both have like
Yes.
that lightning bolt. Okay.
Yes, they both have basic kind of the same powers.
Okay. Like, shouldn't that be what Shazam 2 introduces? Like, shouldn't that be what they piggyback off of?
I have no idea. All they've said about Shazam 2, which they talked about, is apparently Shazam 2 is going to be called Shazam Fury of the Gods.
Okay.
And for some reason, Sinbad was in the panel. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if he's, is that going to be that weird Mandela effect where Sinbad shows up and he's playing a genie, and then I'm going to be like, I knew it. I knew there was a movie called Shazam and Sinbad was playing a genie.
I don't know.
Have you heard that thing?
The Mandela effect? Yeah, because it's Shazam was actually Shaq. But you thought it was Sinbad.
And it wasn't Shazam, it was Kazam.
Oh, yeah. I am Kazam, because he's a rapping genie.
Right.
Because he's in a boombox.
But everybody was like, no, there was Sinbad, and he was in a movie, and he was a fucking genie. And it was called Shazam. He was Shazam the genie. And people swear by it, Shawn. So I don't know why, but for some reason, Sinbad was on this panel for Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. I don't know what that means, but he needs to play a genie in it, is all I'm saying.
What's weird
That's
is
my point.
There's a bunch of pictures and stuff about this Sinbad Shazam movie.
Yeah.
Although
that apparently doesn't exist.
Yeah, I think they just mix it up with Kazam.
You think? But do you know? No, Shawn, you don't know.
I never followed Shazam's or Sinbad's movie career very close.
Let's see. What were we? Black Adam. Okay. Yeah. Don't understand the point of why you're even talking about it. Because like I said, you're at least 2 years away from this movie.
Yeah.
At least. Probably closer to 3. So why even talk about it?
Well, and it's kind of like,
other than just say, hey, we're making this Black Adam movie and The Rock's in it and you'll see it in a couple years.
But you've known that for 5 years, because they've kind of done like Marvel for a while was announcing
you're
multiple
right.
phases.
Because they announced it. They announced The Rock as Black Adam like 2 years ago.
Yeah. But like Marvel used to announce like the full phase and then the next phase, and they stopped doing that because like, oh, we're gonna do the Eternals and this and this and this, and then like you get close, like, wait, weren't they gonna do some kind of movie?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're not. Sorry, bad idea.
Never mind. Sorry.
Oh, you're an Eternals fanboy. That was your only reason for living. Oh, we got X-Men now.
Hey, New Mutants.
Which comes out by the time this is released, should be out.
They'll come out the same time. Black Adam does. You'll finally get to be able to see New Mutants. Yeah. So okay, there you go, Shawn. There's a Black Adam movie that you'll see at some point in your life.
Yeah.
Unless you die.
That little vignette thing got me kind of excited. I'm curious where they set it.
I definitely want to see Dr. Fate. Because I love Dr. Fate.
Is he kind of like a Doctor Strange character?
He's exactly like a Doctor Strange character. But I would say in the DC universe, I would say compared to Doctor Strange, I would say Dr. Fate's probably more powerful.
Okay.
Let's see. We talked about Shazam 2. There was a panel on Sandman where they didn't reveal anything about the show. The Netflix show, didn't see anything there. There were things about The Flash and Teen Titans and Doom Patrol and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not really into a lot of those shows, so I wasn't really like, oh my god about it. All right, let's talk about the two big heavy hitters. The 1-2 punch. First off, Justice League. the Snyder cut of Justice League.
I saw the trailer right before we kicked this off.
They had a panel about it, where Zack Snyder took questions. Some of the questions were done by cast members. So Ben Affleck was there, Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, the kid that played Cyborg, that his name escapes me, but the guy that's super mad at Joss Whedon right now, I can't think of his name.
Is it Ray Fisher? Is that his name?
Yes, I think that's right. Funny story with that. Apparently, Warner agreed to launch a third-party investigation into Ray Fisher's allegations.
Yeah, so it's funny because like we're big fans of Joss Whedon's work. And,
sure.
When they said, oh, he's going to take over and finish the Justice League movie, we're like, oh, we're great. Like, he's got all this knowledge from Avengers. Like, maybe this is what's going to take it off. And, like, it feels more and more like he just kind of showed up to get a big paycheck again.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm thinking about it also. But, I mean, whatever. They paid him. Although I don't think that gives you the license to, be an asshole.
No. I mean, and this was probably a time where it was still accepted, even though it shouldn't be.
Sure.
Like an asshole being able to be an asshole because of who he is.
Sure. Okay, so the things that were revealed about Justice League, they said that the movie is going to be 4 parts, and each part will be 1 hour each. So there's going to be 4 1-hour parts that are going to make up the entirety of the Justice League movie. So, Shawn, this movie is going to be 4 hours by the time it's all said and done.
And when he was still involved, he being Zack Snyder, there was talks that it was going to be like a 3.5 hour movie.
Yes.
Like they talked about it almost being like 2 parts.
Yes. That was, I think that was that was originally where they were going. Because, I mean, he shot a bunch. And I think that's why there was such I think that's one of the reasons that you saw such an outcry from fans saying, hey, let's get a realistic cut of this movie.
Yeah.
Because anybody that watches Justice League, you can see it watching the movie. Like, there's so much of this movie that is sitting in a box somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I think because they probably shot, like I asked you because I wasn't sure if they were going back to film more stuff, but it sounds like everything he needed was filmed.
Yeah.
And so then when Joss Whedon came in, it's like, oh, well, we've got everything filmed, but I want to change it all. So they kept like 15% of the movie and then did the Joss Whedon cut.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you're an actor, like, wouldn't you be pissed? Like, oh, we just wrapped. Sweet. Hooray. You get a phone call like a month later.
Well, and especially because here's the thing is that, and Zack Snyder even said this during the panel, is that the movie kind of centers around Cyborg.
Yeah. And
that Cyborg is kind of the pivotal character in that movie, in Justice League. And you go on HBO Max right now and watch Justice League. He's not in it that much.
No, he's not. He just kind of shows up. And
considering that the movie centered around him, no wonder the movie feels fucking like all over the place and and choppy, because you've restructured the movie that was shot into something completely different.
Yeah, and honestly, like a lot of the complaints with how the actors probably portrayed that stuff too is because you're getting overtimed actors. You're getting actors called back after they've done what they thought was the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, honestly, now, like, you see that why there was such a big outpour for the Snyder Cut, like, it makes more sense because we weren't told that when the movie came out.
No, not at all.
It was more of like, well, no, yeah, there's a Snyder Cut, but there's not like a whole lot different. Like, it's just like Joss Whedon kind of came in to touch stuff up. Yeah, it was just extra stuff. It was some scenes that didn't need to be in the movie.
Exactly. But no, But now you're finding out like, oh no, it's actually almost a completely different movie.
Yeah, because you've got in here you see the scene with a Cyborg and his dad. Like, it looks like his dad sacrificed himself for his son to continue to live. You know, there's the whole football stuff with him too. Like, you see a lot of that going on. There was scenes, I think in one of the first trailers where you see him walking around, not as Cyborg, with his like Gotham High School jacket or Gotham College jacket, one of the two. Not in the movie at all. You've got Aquaman stuff they showed in this. There was Wonder Woman stuff they showed in this. There's Flash stuff they showed in this. Like, there's like I can see why there's 4 hours of stuff available.
I mean, yeah, apparently like Flash does stuff in the movie that almost kind of pushes the boundaries of what people think he can do in the comics.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you probably get a lot more of why or how he got to Bruce Wayne. Like, I'm sure, I would assume that's going to be explained in this. I'd hope.
Oh, and also, I only saw this clip on YouTube, but in the Flash television show, when there's a point where Barry meets the Flash, the movie.
I saw some pictures of that.
Okay, so there's a point where Barry is traveling through Earths. And he gets to Earth, who knows what fucking number, but he meets Ezra Miller as the Flash. And apparently the connection that gets made there is that's why Barry in the movie decides to call himself the Flash.
Yeah, I read.
Was because he meets Barry from the television series and he calls himself the Flash.
Yeah, and I heard that's like been like that's put into canon.
Yes.
So that was in this like Flashpoint thing they had last season of Arrowverse and all that.
The last Crisis of Infinite Earths.
Yeah, I want to sit and watch all those, but that's a shit ton of episodes.
I know what you mean.
Like, I'm trying to get through Supernatural, and like it's like 1 or 2 episodes like every other week, maybe. It's just tough. It's not bad. It's just
yeah. But yeah, there's extra stuff with Barry in there. You've got Superman in a black suit. Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, Shawn, they add an entirely new villain, which is the villain that they teased pretty much from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is Darkseid.
Yeah.
You see Darkseid the first 3 seconds of this trailer. First 3 seconds, you're like, holy shit, there's fucking Darkseid.
Well, that's the thing, is this whole like end of the world
they
stuff.
They didn't even hint at Darkseid in the Justice League movie. But that's all if you watch that Dawn of Justice, not really so much Man of Steel, but definitely Dawn of Justice, all you got was teased shit about Darkseid.
Well, that's why I wonder if like the futuristic end of the world stuff, like if you get a lot more of that, and it's basically Batman and them telling Barry to go back in time to warn him.
Possibly.
You know, like you actually get more of the, like, this is what happens instead of like little flashes.
Exactly.
Joss is like, nobody wants to see that.
Well, I think who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Joss Whedon set out to, not give a fuck, but I think he definitely gave less of a fuck because it really wasn't his to fuck with.
Yeah, and you wonder if he just tried to, like, it's kind of like when you come into a project or something and you just want to be like, nope, all this is wrong, even though you think it's right, but you don't want to come out on the other end and be like, oh, yeah, that was all the other guy's idea. I just basically came in and polished it. Even though that's probably the right thing to do. And the thing with this movie that's going to upset me, like, worst case, actually probably best case scenario is I watch this movie and I'm like, I would have felt the exact same way if this was the movie I saw 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
What's really going to suck is if you come out of this watching this movie and you're like, I would have paid $300 to see Justice League 2 the next year.
Yeah. That's the thing is, like, let's say you get done watching, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Justice League. And then when it's all said and done, then you say, man, they should make another one.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now they can't.
Yeah.
Fucking because, like you got a whole new Batman now, so can't do that.
This feels almost like, I don't know if you remember back in wrestling when there's a guy named Vince Russo who was like supposed to be the mastermind of like the WWF Attitude Era. And he went to WCW. And the theory is that Vince McMahon sent him from WWF to WCW to basically destroy it because he just came up with like shitty ideas and just basically ruined it so he could buy WCW. I wonder if that's what happened here. Marvel's like, hey, here's all your money. We're going to put all this stuff out that we suck and we hate each other. You go and fuck that movie up because we hear it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, entirely possible. Who knows? But man, because I know from the trailer that I saw, I mean, that's entirely possible. I could get done watching that and be like, yeah, I'd watch another one.
Do you know how much that's going to hurt?
Yeah, right? Because it's never going to happen.
Yeah. Although the Dawn of Justice trailer, it's on a movie we have at the lake that is just a preview. The trailers for that one looked so freaking good. Like I watched them like, man, I really should watch that again. Maybe it's not as bad as I remembered. But I haven't done it yet. I just watched that trailer on a loop.
Nope, it's as bad as you remember. All right, so we teased all the way up to this. I think this is what the DC Fandome closed the night out with. It is a how long is it? Couple minutes?
About 2.5 minutes.
It is a 2.5 minute teaser for the Batman. Now, funny thing about this, Shawn, is the Batman, like you get this 2.5 minutes here. You get to see what Batman looks like. You get to see, glimpses of the villain, kind of a general vibe of what the vibe and tone of what the movie's going to be. Shawn, they've only actually filmed like 25% of this movie.
Oh, really? So basically what we saw is just 25% then.
Yeah. They have only filmed 25% of this movie. I don't know when they're supposed to go back to filming. However, they are saying, well, they're basically doing everything but promising a 2021 release.
Yeah, so just looking at the wiki, they're expecting production to start back up in September. And the release date they're thinking is October 1st of 2021.
Yeah. So they're still full steam ahead for a 2021 release.
So watching this movie, or seeing this trailer, like I mentioned earlier, I started watching this with my son who's 4, my nephew who's 4, and quickly decided that this probably shouldn't be the movie to watch because it looks super dark. Like this is the Batman I want. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right.
Creepy ass people, him beating the shit. Long haired Bruce Wayne.
I see. Okay, that's where I feel like this is just like my weird thing in my head. But the long hair Bruce Wayne one kind of threw me. Like I'm looking at that going, I don't know, man.
Yeah, maybe that's like he's got it down when because you could do a lot with that hair. You know what I mean? Like when he's in Batman face, it's just like draped down, very grungy, very emo. I mean, they have Nirvana in the trailer.
They do. But
then when he's Bruce Wayne, like in the office, it's slicked back. Very kind of douchey look. Like that would work. Because we don't really see him as like Bruce Wayne in the office. You see him as like Bruce Wayne.
No, the only clip I think you see him Bruce Wayning it up was there's a sequence where a car's driving through what I assume to be a church during a funeral.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne's there and his hair looks kind of moppy.
Yeah, which that could be, well, I would be interested to see how they see it in the office. Because, I think, again, like, and the music for that really kind of hit on that trailer. Like, they picked really good. Because it just sets the tone really for this. Because this, I mean, I don't think they have a rating for it, but it's like everybody's like, "Oh, I want."
They're saying R. This is going to be an R-rated movie.
You want a rated R Batman? I think you're getting it with this.
This is going to be an R-rated Batman. Yeah.
Who are you? Whack, 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 whack.
Oh my God! That's honestly, that's what sold me on the whole movie.
Yeah,
right there.
That was
because the guy's like, "Fuck, are you supposed to be?" And he walks up and he hits him, then breaks his arm, then hits him like 4 times, and like the guy falls on the ground, and he looks at him, gets on top of him, and just punch. Like you could see just like there's rage in that guy's heart, you know?
And it's so like
and he says, "I'm vengeance," and he kind of does the Christian Bale Batman voice, but I'm okay with it. It seemed like I feel like he pulled off the kind of gravelly Batman voice a lot better than Christian Bale pulled off the gravelly voice.
Because that's like you get in a fight with somebody, like your like instincts kick in, where you're just like, "I'm vengeance." Not really like I'm trying to be a Batman person. I'm using my Batman voice. But it was like 10 seconds before that piece happened, because I was watching on my phone in the living room. My dad, like, he's like, "Hey, what are you watching over there?" I'm like, "The new Batman trailer," and it's like whack, 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 whack. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this later. I want to be excited for this.
I'm honestly excited. Couple things about this. Like I said, like him beating the shit out of that guy is what I was like, okay, like I'm at first it was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna see this, but that made me actually want to see this. It wasn't like like a sense of obligation. That's where my sense of obligation to see this movie left, was when he beat the shit out of that criminal. Because, you know, if you think about the psychology of Batman, and I know this sounds like really fucking stupid to say, but if you think about the psychology of Batman, like what is he at the end of the day? He's a fucking
psychopath.
He's a rage-filled fucking psychopath.
Yeah.
That just like because he blames all criminals for the death of his parents, and so he takes that rage, that unbridled rage, out on anybody that's breaking the law. And you can see it not just in the ferocity of his body movements, but you can almost see it on his face.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you know, I don't want to kill, like, he's beating the shit out of one person, and you can see in his face that he's not going to kill the guy, but he really, really wants to. He just wants to beat this guy until he doesn't breathe anymore.
It's like Dexter. Dexter, I mean, he kills bad guys, but he kind of does it as a way to get over his issues, right? Like, you know, what would, like, it's a fine line. I think it's probably the best line in the Nolan trilogy, but it's like, you're one bad day away from being me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if Batman could easily be like a criminal, like, mastermind person.
Sure.
But he's kind of taken a slightly different path. What's really cool, I guess this was in the Kevin Smith comics, but if you look at the bat symbol, it looks almost like two guns or a gun. And I think in the Kevin Smith comic, he made where the bat symbol was the gun that killed Batman's parents.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard that before. I feel like I've heard that before.
The other thing I'm hoping for this is, like we've mentioned, I don't really want to see the Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne thing. This isn't a prequel per se. This is, and here it says it's the second year of him fighting crime.
Yeah. So this is a Batman year 2.
Yeah. So when we kick this off, it's like when we got Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man. It's like, you know who Spider-Man is. He's Spider-Man. He's getting used to some stuff. It's still early, but he's Spider-Man. Same thing here.
And I'm really hoping, and I feel like they have. I feel at this point, if Marvel hasn't figured, or if DC hasn't figured it out, I think they never will. If they haven't figured out at this point, by just listening or watching the long series of YouTube videos or podcasts or blogs or whatever of people going, I don't need to see Thomas and Martha Wayne get shot again.
They're like, but we don't know if it'll work. It's like, listen, Spider-Man did it. We didn't see Uncle Ben died. We just know he died. We get it. We know what happens.
We know what happens. My grandmother knows how Batman became Batman.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to show it again. So yes, I'm nervous that happens. One other thing I want to point out, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, I'm down for that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. As soon as I saw it, I was like, why haven't I seen this before?
It threw me off a little bit because, like, I know him from Westworld, right? And he's got the same kind of delivery a little bit here. It's not as...
Jeffrey Wright's a fucking amazing actor. He was in Westworld. I've seen him in Boardwalk Empire. I've seen him in almost everything I've seen him in. He's one of those actors that even if I'm not, it seems like he picks his roles carefully.
Yeah.
And it seems like it seems like the stuff he picks, he fucking knocks out of the park.
Once I got through that and kind of understood the tone, and when I actually rewatched the whole thing, fit perfectly. And honestly, what I get from this tone of this movie, I feel like it piggybacks off the Joker movie really well. Like just the tone and the feel. I don't know if the universe themselves...
That's a good point. I didn't think about that at all.
I don't know if the universes will tie together well. Like that might not make sense, but the tone specifically, just seemed to like... Because Joker feels very real world. This Batman felt very, very real world. Yeah.
Well, and I feel like that has to do with the fact that, like you said, this is year 2. This is where Batman really hasn't become... Batman is he's Batman, obviously, but he's not the Batman that a lot of people would recognize.
Yeah, agreed.
I think this is the Batman that's still trying to figure shit out. And I think this is also the Gotham City where criminals are trying to figure out who they are.
And I like the bad guy choices too with Penguin and Riddler.
Which I had some initial trepidation when they were like, oh, we're putting 2 villains in this movie. I'm like, man, I don't know.
If you do it where like there's actually one bad villain and the other one's just kind of like a C character in it, like you're just kind of like skirting around it. Like I don't want them teaming up. Don't have them team up. Like not yet.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like not sure about Robert Pattinson. Like I was kind of not just not sure how I feel about that.
I'm still a little iffy on the hair, but that's it. I feel, and that's not a deal breaker for me, but it is something that I noticed.
But the part where he's got the mask off with the eye black, he's got like, honestly, when I see that, I'm kind of like, man, that kind of looks like he'd be a good Joker. And maybe he is. That's the big con here is he's actually the Joker the whole time. This is actually just the Joker part 2.
Yeah.
But I'll go see a Batman movie every year, so I'm good. With that.
I will definitely. I'll go see a Batman movie like no matter what. This movie I actually like. This is a movie like I want to go see.
Yeah, I love, and this feels very the I don't know what you'd call it. Basically, the logo with the red and the black. It's kind of simple, but kind of just, I don't know. It just feels really grungy and cool to me. Plus that song. That's a good song.
It is a good song.
Which I don't think that's actually Nirvana's song, is it?
I've always liked the Riddler as a villain. What were you saying about Nirvana?
Is that actually their song?
Yeah. It was on Nevermind. Something in the Way.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, because it sounds a little bit like from their live album. What is it? Penny Royalty.
No, you're thinking of Nirvana Unplugged. Penny Royalty is a song that's on Nirvana Unplugged. But Something in the Way it's off of Nevermind.
I gotcha. But they sing it in the live thing too.
Yeah, they did. They put that in their Unplugged. I will say that out of all the trailers and everything that I saw, the Batman one I watched definitely like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see trailer 2 when they get more stuff done.
Yes.
If it gets here October 1st too, I'll be really excited because that's just over a year away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was there anything else out of?
I think that was it. I think I heard there was some stuff about Aquaman, the next Aquaman. That's getting scheduled for like 2022.
Okay. Was that like the Flashpoint thing? They just kind of mentioned that's what they're wanting to do.
I think they just kind of mentioned it. 2022, the next Aquaman movie. Black Mana's basically like, I think that this movie is basically going to be like, hey, Black Mana's is your main bad guy.
Should be cool. I liked Aquaman. Aquaman was pretty good.
It wasn't bad.
It was kind of like on that Shazam, was a little bit more lighthearted. It wasn't like rated R Batman.
No, fucking Batman is. He's not playing.
Yeah, if you know that's coming for you, like, yep. Walking the crosswalk. Don't want Batman to beat me up. Did you just jaywalk? I am
very
vengeance.
angry.
Yeah. All right. What do you have for some Richard's closing thoughts as we bring our DC fandom to a close?
Overall, great event. I mean, I was afraid that it was going to be lacking on protein, but I mean, they brought it. Like there was some really good stuff in there, and it was just a nice thing to kind of have on and kind of poke my head around and listen in on like throughout the day. I mean, like I said, I just put this on, about like 12 o'clock in the afternoon and just kind of let it go throughout the day while I was at home doing stuff.
Nice. Yeah. I hope they bring this around as a yearly thing, especially.
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of like with the D23 thing. It's like if you have that, then you got to really have something to bring to the table. Because if you're like, hey guys, 3 years, we're going to do.
Well, see, and that's the thing is, in this case, they had a lot to bring to the table. If they do this next year, I mean, by that time, Wonder Woman will have been out. The Snyder Cut will have been out.
Batman will be on its way, hopefully.
Batman will be on its way. I mean,
yeah,
it seems like they have it looks like they have a decent flow kind of set up. I think if they just kind of stay on schedule with it, then by next year, you get another big, heaping gob of stuff, which would be great.
Well, Marvel's just finished their big phase and they're kind of stuck at the starting line of their next run. This would be the time for DC to kind of try to take that lead.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the time. Considering that Marvel's pretty much just pushed everything like 6 months.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm excited for everything coming up, but let me do a little bit of housekeeping so we can get out of this DC Fandom 2020. Visit our website, we're at languageofbroance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro. Email us at bros@languageofbroance.com. Tell us what you're excited for. And if you want to take that bigger step and help us out, you can join our Patreon. It's patreon.com/language of bromance. And we always like to thank Wendy and Aaron.
You guys rock.
All right.
You can be in our fandom anytime.
Yeah, they are in our fandom.
Oh, well, you can stay.
All right. Well, is there anything else before I close her out?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that's all the Bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
Remember, don't be a why.
Be a why not.
Richard, who are you?
Now, see, I can't even do it like him.
I am vengeance.